Rockstar Games' Grand Theft Auto is one of the most recognizable gaming franchises of all time, and it's safe to say that the IP has surpassed its status from just a video game to a behemoth of an entertainment product that's knitted into the very fabric of pop culture. Naturally, hundreds of thousands of fans have been waiting with bated breath for the next iteration in the series for decades at this point. After a long line of rumors and speculation, we finally have confirmation that Grand Theft Auto 6 is in the works, and a short trailer for the same has more or less solidified its existence. Furthermore, we also know that the game will be released for current-gen consoles at launch, and the PC version will most likely be coming out at a later date. While that isn't much of a surprising revelation for our traditional Rockstar release, it definitely begs a bigger discussion if the developer is failing its PC gamers through such a move.
You forget 1,000 things every day, pal. Make sure this is one of them. I'll see you at the river. Go. Go, go, go!
Those familiar with Rockstar's strategy for releasing its games would know that the developer usually prefers to launch a game on a console, and PC versions generally follow after a waiting period of 6 months to upwards of a year. This has been the case with not only franchise predecessors like Grand Theft Auto 5, but also many of its other valuable IPs like Red Dead Redemption 2. The reasons behind this strategy have never been stated in an official capacity, but are generally cited to be related to optimizations, post-launch polishing, or even the looming fear of piracy.
Really starting to irritate me.
However, many, if not all of these reasons are completely justified in the case of Grand Theft Auto 6, which is why the developer might just be purposefully failing its PC gamers by not choosing to release the game at the same time as its console counterparts. Speaking in terms of game development, engines are usually created while keeping target release platforms in mind. For a massive project like Grand Theft Auto 6, development wouldn't usually happen in a segregated fashion for consoles and PCs, despite the platforms having pretty different architectures and methods of optimization. Most development would already be happening in a generic fashion for all platforms, with a minimum spec machine as a target platform, and improvements for higher spec machines like PCs and Pro variants of consoles would be built from that base only. It's not like Rockstar would be waiting until the reception of the console version's release to start development on the PC version and employ a traditional porting cycle of morphing its engines and tools to the PC. Of course, there's always a valid argument to be made for choosing to release one version at a time, since that would help the game's stability, and optimizations can be made more efficiently without having to consider a bunch of different PC configurations and test out performance on the basis of those variables. But to counter that point, it's not like Rockstar is a humble developer with a small number of resources, and the developer could very well make use of its support studios to juggle two versions of the game without much of a hassle. What's more intriguing in this particular situation is the possibility of the developer biting itself back in the foot by choosing to hold the PC version hostage at launch.
We just need money. One more decent take and we're gone.
You see, AAA game development can easily cost hundreds of millions of dollars, and it's safe to assume that crafting something as humongous as Grand Theft Auto 6 would be one of the most expensive ventures in the entertainment sector. Add to that the huge cost associated with marketing and other pre-release shenanigans, and Grand Theft Auto 6 would have easily cost a fortune to make. Recovering that fortune wouldn't obviously be an easy task, especially when the developer itself is stripping away a sizable portion of its target audience at launch. For context, Sony has repeatedly failed to reach target profits with its first-party output on console despite a consistently high volume of sales, because each game would cost $200 to $400 million to make. This is one of the primary reasons why the Japanese giant has recently changed its stance on exclusivity and now releases its games for PC a few months post-launch. Furthermore, the decision to keep creating exclusives is majorly fueled by the fact that Sony is also a hardware manufacturer that has to sell console units alongside the aforementioned software, which isn't applicable in the case of Rockstar and Grand Theft Auto 6. Given the immense market credibility of the franchise and the long waiting period between releases, it isn't much of a fetched imagination to assume that Rockstar would turn a profit even after refusing to release the game on PC at launch. But that also doesn't detract from the fact that the developer is leaving a lot of money on the cutting floor, and those sales could definitely help in facilitating further development of the game's online components. On the other hand, however, refusing to release Grand Theft Auto 6 on PC day one might also end up being a decision that prioritizes profit margins over catering to its customers. Rockstar will most likely employ a similar tactic as GTA 5 and release a remastered version with some new additions down the line, which in turn could drive double the number of sales, as a sizable portion of console players might choose to shift to PC for advantages including but not limited to higher frame rates and modding support. As mentioned previously, there wouldn't be much of an additional cost associated with developing the PC version, and the developer might be able to coop double sales for many customers, which in turn could drive even higher profits than releasing all versions simultaneously. This is something that worked well in the case of Grand Theft Auto 5, and history could very well repeat itself this time as well. Taking these points into consideration, it seems pretty evident that Rockstar and by extension its parent company Take-Two are both interested in deepening their pockets, as opposed to being more caring and transparent towards its customers. By segregating the PC release from the console release, Rockstar might be facilitating an artificial demand for the same game, which is a pretty controversial move if you consider that the developer does have the resources and pockets to avoid that pitfall. Of course, there isn't much that we can do on the matter, and Rockstar seems adamant about continuing to use the same strategy it did with its previous releases, but that doesn't detract from the fact that it is indeed a sad state of affairs, albeit not a surprising one to be honest. As it stands, it seems very likely that Grand Theft Auto 6 will be releasing at least a year after the game's debut on consoles. It's also very likely that the developer would turn a massive profit through the segregation of platforms. So, in essence, Rockstar might just be failing its PC gamers by choosing not to release GTA 6 on PC day one, since there's a lot more to be gained for the developer with this decision than us gamers.
And that brings us to the end of the video. A quick request: we upload new videos every single day, and if you like what we're doing, please consider subscribing. It really helps us out. Also, don't forget to enable all notifications by clicking the bell icon so that you can receive daily video updates. Thanks for watching.